Your car's check engine light just popped on. The idle feels rough. Or maybe the transmission is acting weird. Most drivers panic and head straight to a shop. But here's the shocking truth. In many cases, you can reset the system yourself, at home, in under 5 minutes. And it costs nothing. These aren't the obvious battery disconnect tricks you've heard before. I'm talking about hidden resets and recalibrations that even dealerships don't advertise. And stick with me until the end, because the last reset I'll show you is one that mechanics themselves quietly use to make cars run like new, and most owners never find out about it. Quick checks. Before resetting. Before trying high-tech fixes, look for the easy stuff that's often overlooked. For example, a very common culprit is a loose gas cap. An improperly tightened cap releases fuel vapor and can trigger the check engine light for no other reason. Park, tighten the gas cap, and see if the light goes off. Also inspect under the hood. Check for any disconnected vacuum hoses, unplugged sensors, or frayed wires. A loose connector or vacuum leak can cause strange engine behavior. One auto news outlet even advises looking over the engine bay for loose hoses or electrical plugs, since simply fixing those can restore proper operation. If you find and fix any such issue, your car may immediately run better at no cost. Before we dive into the process, hit the subscribe button to make sure you will get the notification for our latest videos. Rebooting your car's ECU. If basic checks don't solve it, try the ultimate reset. Cut power to your car's computer. This is like pressing the reset button on your laptop. Modern cars store adaptive settings and trouble codes in the ECU/ECM, and cutting the battery forces all those modules to restart and clear volatile data. Here's how. Turn off the ignition and all accessories. Make sure the key is out and everything is off. Open the hood and locate the battery. Identify the negative terminal, usually black, and the positive terminal, usually red. Disconnect the negative cable. Use a wrench to loosen the negative terminal bolt, then remove the cable and keep it away from the battery. On most cars, it's enough to leave it off for 30 to 60 seconds. Reconnect the battery. First, put the negative cable back on and tighten it. Then reconnect the positive if you removed it earlier. Once reconnected, start the car. By doing this off and on reboot, you have cleared many stored error codes and reset the ECU to factory defaults. In practical terms, this can make temporary glitches disappear. For example, if a sensor gave a brief false reading, rebooting often turns off the check engine light and lets the car run smoothly again. Kilmer notes that this one step of disconnecting the battery effectively resets the vehicle's computer systems and can resolve minor electronic hiccups. In short, you've hit the reset button on the car. Many owners report that after doing this, engine idles stabilize and warning lights vanish. Important. When you cut power like this, the car forgets some settings. Don't be surprised if your radio presets, clock, or power window auto features are reset. Dealership service tips warn that the infotainment system may need reprogramming afterward. Just note that you'll need to set those few things again after the reset. Alternate reset. Removing the ECU/ECM fuse. If you prefer not to disconnect the battery to preserve stereo or computer memory, there's another free trick. Pull the fuse for the engine's computer. Each car has a fuse box with fuses labeled for different modules. Find the fuse labeled ECU, ECM, or PCM. With the ignition off, carefully remove that fuse, wait about 10 to 15 minutes, then reinsert it. This cuts power only to the engine computer and causes it to reset in the same way as the battery trick. After replacing the fuse, starting the car, you'll have effectively rebooted the ECU without touching the main battery terminals. This fuse method works well on some modern cars that have multiple memory circuits. Just be careful. Make sure the fuse is indeed the ECU fuse and keep track of where it goes. After using this method, you'll still want to do a throttle relearn to let the car readapt. Relearning. After the reset. After any computer reset, the car will enter a learning phase. The ECU has forgotten its adaptive fuel trims and idle settings, so it needs to recalibrate. A good first step is a throttle body relearn. AutoZone details a manual procedure used by many vehicles. Turn the ignition to on, and wait about 10 seconds. This powers the ECU up. Floor the accelerator pedal fully, then release it. Do this several times. Start the engine and let it idle for about 10 minutes without touching the gas. This allows the computer to adjust idle and throttle closed open positions. Performing this relearn routine helps prevent a lumpy idle or hesitation. Additionally, your transmission will relearn its shift patterns. Since many automatic cars adapt shift points over time, the battery reset also wipes out those learned patterns. After resetting, simply drive normally a mix of city and highway miles, and the TCM will rebuild its data. Scotty Kilmer notes that clearing the data can even improve erratic shifting, because the computer will forget a possibly bad learning it had retained. Overall, plan on taking the car for a thorough drive. Auto parts experts point out that a full drive cycle is sometimes required for all the OBD2 monitors to run their tests. In practice, just drive normally for a few days, and the system will restore readiness and adaptive settings. Be patient. It can take several miles or days before everything is fully recalibrated. Inspecting for hidden issues. While resets and relearns can clear up many issues, always double-check for physical problems. Inspect spark plugs, air filter, and fluid levels if relevant, although not directly reset by these tricks. They can cause drivability issues too. And consider adding a fuel system cleaner to the gas tank. A foamy injector cleaner can sometimes clear a fouled sensor and temporarily turn off a false warning light. While sources like Straight Dope forums note fuel additives as a possible cheap fix for sensor errors, keep in mind these are supplementary. They're worth trying if the reset cleared the light but you suspect the warning might return. Free diagnostic services and tools. Take advantage of the fact that all 1996 or newer US cars have an OBD2 port. Many auto parts retailers will scan your car's computer for free and give you a printed report. For example, O'Reilly Auto Parts offers a free VeriScan. Any 1996 Plus vehicle can be hooked up to their code reader at no cost. You walk in with your car, and a parts pro will plug into the OBD2 port, read any trouble codes, and email you the report of possible causes and fixes. AutoZone has a similar free service where they pull codes and give you an easy-to-understand report of which systems are triggering lights. These services are completely free, and they can pinpoint any persistent fault codes. Note: staff will generally read the codes for you but won't erase them themselves. If you want to clear the codes, you're usually allowed to do it yourself while at the store. Just keep in mind, erasing a code doesn't fix the problem. It only turns off the light temporarily. O'Reilly specifically warns that clearing the code will only succeed if the underlying issue is resolved. Otherwise, the light will just come back. In other words, use the free scan to get code info and address the root cause. If you like DIY, you can also buy a cheap OBD2 Bluetooth dongle and use a free smartphone app like Car Scanner or Torque to read/clear codes at home. These apps essentially do the same thing as the store scanner. Again, clearing codes with a tool is akin to hitting reset. It can silence the light, but you should then test drive to ensure the problem really went away. Things to watch out for. Remember that a reset is not a fix for serious mechanical issues. If your car had a genuine problem, the reset only hides the symptom, not the cause. For example, O'Reilly notes that if the cause isn't fixed, the check engine light will inevitably reactivate, especially after the car completes its drive cycle tests. So always use these reset tricks as a first step. If the light comes back, or if the car still runs poorly, you'll need proper repairs using the diagnostic info you gathered. Also be aware of emissions readiness. Clearing codes resets all the OBD2 monitors. In states with smog checks, you typically need all monitors ready to pass. If you've reset your car, you may have to drive several days or a specific drive cycle to let every test run their course. The OBD Auto Doctor explains that after a power loss, all monitors show not ready until you drive normally. So if your car was near test time, plan accordingly or clear monitors earlier. Finally, always reconnect the battery properly and watch the engine after. If any lights blink or the car idles terribly after reconnecting, double-check your steps. It's a good idea to clean the battery terminals before reconnecting. In most cases, however, this reset approach is safe. A dealership guide confirms that resetting the computer by disconnecting the battery generally does no harm and can clear trivial issues. Using these tricks, you now have a powerful set of free tools to try before paying for repairs. Many drivers find that these steps clear their warning lights and smooth out performance at zero cost. It's essentially the automotive equivalent of turning it off and on again. Give it a try the next time your car acts up. You might just fix it for free. And if the problem persists, at least you'll have valuable error codes and the knowledge to tackle the real issue.